It's the second day in the month of February 2026. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to AM Today on this channel. I'm Sunday Kolawale. Of course, as usual, we start with a check on stories making headlines in the national dailies. We start with the Punch newspaper. We have this analysis. Travels, presidency spends 34 billion naira on Forex in 2 years. Let's get details of the story, a few paragraphs. In the Punch newspaper this morning, the presidency spent at least 34.39 billion naira on foreign exchange purchases for international travel and related obligations over a 2-year period. Findings by the Punch have shown the figure is according to data compiled from GovSpend, a government spending tracker managed by Budget. The records, which cover transactions by the State House, presidential air fleets, the Office of the Chief of Staff, and operations linked to the President, Vice President, First Lady, and their aides, now a sharp swing in spending patterns between 2024 and 2025. Analysis of the data shows that 2024 accounted for the bulk of the expenditure, with total forex purchases of 29.35 billion naira, while 2025 recorded 5.04 billion naira. Details you find in the Punch newspaper of this morning. That's talking about the analysis of the expenditure of the presidency over travels in the last 2 years. Now, let's check this one. Health workers strike grounds hospitals. Let's check the details here. The ongoing strike by the joint health sector unions has entered the third month, crippling activities in government hospitals across Nigeria, leaving patients stranded and forcing many to seek essential services outside public health facilities. Now in its third month, the industrial action has granted critical services, particularly in hospital pharmacies, laboratory, and other support departments, significantly disrupting healthcare delivery. While industrial action has severely disrupted federal health institutions, health workers in state-owned institutions in Ekiti and Benue states have largely remained on duty, mitigating the impact on patients. At the same time, resident doctors, nurses, and midwives in some state facilities, such as the Benue State University Teaching Hospital, have embarked on separate industrial actions, citing unpaid salaries, pension issues, and dilapidated infrastructure. At the Federal Teaching Hospital, Ekiti, medical doctors and nurses were seen at their posts. However, other health workers stayed away. The chairman of the National Union of Allied Health Professionals, the State Council, and immediate past Feti Joesu chairman, Ayodeji Oborino, stated that over 2.5 months strike by the health workers was unfortunate. Of course, details in the Punch newspaper of this morning. Let's also get this story from the defense arena. Failed coup. I was marked for arrest, assassination. That's coming from defense minister. The Minister of Defense, retired General Christopher Musa, on Sunday disclosed that he was among the intended targets of the recently foiled coup plot against President Bola Tinubu, revealing that the conspirators planned to arrest or shoot him if he resisted. Musa made the disclosure while speaking as a guest on a television program, where he also described the suspects behind the plot as a bunch of very unserious individuals. While admitting that he played a key role in helping security agencies nip the plot in the bud, the former chief of defense staff said he was personally marked for arrest by the plotters. Quote, I was also a target. I'm sure you know I was supposed to be arrested, and if I refused, I was supposed to be shot, he said. But that's the job. Anybody goes into coup, zeroes his mind because he knows if he succeeds, good. If he doesn't succeed, whatever consequences come, we are ready for it. Musa dismissed the capacity of the suspects to successfully challenge the Nigerian state, saying their actions showed a complete misunderstanding of Nigeria's democratic history and the strength of the armed forces. But again, I think these guys were just a bunch of very unserious individuals that I really don't know. If you look at the caliber of the individuals, I really don't know what got into their heads to think that they could take on the armed forces like that, he said. End of quote. Details in the Punch newspaper of this morning. That's talking about the recently failed coup. Let's move ahead and go to Lagos. Let's find some stories here. Makobo demolition, Lagos Assembly to meet community leaders tomorrow. The Lagos State House of Assembly has invited leaders of communities affected by the demolition in Makobo and adjoining waterfront settlements to a meeting tomorrow, Tuesday. It was gathered that a letter dated January 26, 2026 was signed by the clerk of the House, Olaleko Onafeko. The letter dated January 27 said the meeting was in response to a petition submitted by the communities over the demolition and eviction of residents. Addressed to the community leaders, the letter convened the meeting of the Committee on Rules and Business for 10 a.m. on Tuesday, February 3 at the Chambers Conference Room, 2nd floor, Assembly Complex, Alaza, Ikeja, and requested the presentation of relevant documents to facilitate deliberations. It read, quote, "I write to acknowledge the receipt of your petition dated 14th January 2026 on the above subject and invite you to a meeting with the Committee on Rules and Business on Tuesday, 3rd February 2026 at the 2nd floor Chambers Conference Room, Assembly Complex, Ikeja, by 10 a.m. Details in the Punch newspaper of this morning. That looks like finding a compromise ground on the matter. Ogun, Ondo in fresh battle over oil-rich Bangri Island. Tensions have escalated between Ogun and Ondo states over the ownership of the Bar Island, an oil-rich territory in the southwest, following President Bola Tinubu's approval of drilling activities at an abandoned oil well on the island. The Ogun State government reaffirmed its territorial claim over the Island, located in Ogun Waterside local government area, dismissing Ogun State's competing assertions as misleading and potentially inflammatory. In a statement, Governor Dapo Abiodun, Special Advisor on Information and Strategy, Kayode Akimade, said the island falls squarely within Ogun State based on historical, legal, and administrative records. Details you find in the Punch newspaper of this morning. Still taking stories in the national dailies. Let's check this one also from the dailies. U.S. aid pause threatens HIV/AIDS gains in Nigeria. That's according to experts. An expert has warned that the suspension of United States foreign aid for HIV/AIDS programs could reverse years of progress and expose young Nigerians to renewed risk. The managing director of Rich Care Foundation, Dr. Nandul Dolfa, said this in Abuja while reacting to the termination of funding agreements between the U.S. following the U.S. policy of foreign aid. Dolfa told journalists that the federal government must really fund HIV services to prevent a relapse to what he described as the gory days of the disease. He was responding to a letter from the Institute of Human Virology, Nigeria, informing his organization of the termination of funding support. In the letter signed by Dr. Patrick Dakum, the Institute's Chief Executive Officer, the Institute said that due to prevailing funding constraints, the organization is compelled to terminate all contracts currently in force with all respective organizations. It said the termination shall take effect immediately. Many non-government organizations and other corporate outfits engaged in HIV/AIDS activities have shut down following a new U.S. policy halting foreign aid. Details in the Nigerian Tribune newspaper of this morning. And of course, you find that also in many other national dailies of today. All right, let's move ahead to some more stories. Widow opposes fresh probe over politician husband's death. Christiana Akinboye, widow of the late businessman and politician Bamidele Akinboye, has accused the Lagos State Police Command of unlawfully releasing her husband's body and mishandling critical evidence, despite the family being cleared of any wrongdoing by the State Director of Public Prosecutions. At the press conference over the weekend, while appealing to President Bola Tinubu, the Senate, and the Inspector General of Police, Akinbuyi appealed that the police actions following her husband's death amounted to an abuse of power, a breach of due process, and deliberate marginalization of the deceased's immediate family. She said DPP's legal advice issued after investigations exonerated her and her children, effectively ending any lawful police involvement in the matter. Quote, once the DPP cleared my children and me, there was no criminal investigation or justification for any further interference by the police, she said. Akinbuyi further alleged that confidential investigative documents, including the DPP legal advice, were leaked online and circulated by a foreign-based blogger before the police formally communicated the outcome of the investigation to the family. The police have not officially communicated the outcome of the investigation to us to date. We only read about it online, she said. The widow also accused the police of mishandling her late husband's personal belongings. She said officers collected his mobile phones and medications from her as evidence, but later released the phones to her estranged stepson. The phones were given to my estranged stepson, while the medications collected from me have not been returned, she said. According to her, repeated formal demands by her lawyers for the return of the deceased's personal effects were ignored, raising concerns about breaches of investigative protocol and the chain of custody. Details of the story, it's actually in the Nigerian Tribune newspaper of this morning. Check the details there if you'd like to read more on the matter. Of course, it's still an ongoing matter, but then the widow is raising concerns on the manner of handling of the issue. Let's check more stories this morning. Let's move to the Punch newspaper and check more stories here. All right, Ebonyi governor orders school closure, 20-hour curfew after deadly attack. The governor of Ebonyi State, Francis Nwifuru, has ordered the immediate closure of all schools in the Osrc clan in the Afikpo local government area and imposed a 20-hour daily curfew following a deadly attack allegedly carried out by assailants of the clan in Okorojo village, Eda local government area. The attack led to the killing and beheading of 4 people and the burning of more than 9 houses. The measures were part of resolutions reached at an emergency meeting of the Ebonyi State Security Council on Saturday night, conveying a response to the mayhem in Okorojo village, so Eda community. Earlier on Saturday, Governor Nwifuru visited the affected community, commiserated with residents, and directed security agencies to ensure the arrest and prosecution of those responsible for the attack. Briefing journalists after the Security Council meeting in Abakaliki, the governor announced a range of security and administrative measures aimed at restoring calm and preventing further attacks. He disclosed that on the council's advice, the state government approved the immediate dethronement of 2 traditional rulers in the Osrc clan as part of efforts to address the crisis. The letters of their dethronement will be issued to them tomorrow, he said. The governor also said the council ordered the dissolution of all community-based leadership structures in the clan, including development union executives, village heads, women leaders, youth leaders, peer groups, and any other formal or informal organizations operating within the clan. Quote, the government has agreed with the council's directive and dissolved all executives of the development union, the village heads, women leaders and groups, youth leaders and groups, peer groups, and any other organizations in the Osrc clan, he said. Nwifuru added that the Security Council directed the chairman of the Afikpo, Ivo, Ohazara, and Olincha local government areas to jointly take over the administration and government activities in the Osrc clan until further notice. The governor said the council has ordered the immediate shutdown of all amenities in the town, including public and private schools, as well as the Osrc Development Center, an arm of the local government in the area. The bill has been prepared to repeal sections of the law that established the Development Center and will be sent to the House of Assembly. Details, it's in the Punch newspaper of this morning. Alright, this one reads, gunmen kill one, set church police station on fire. Where is that happening? Let's check the details. Where did it happen? Gunmen suspected to be bandits have struck again in Niger State, killing one person, abducting 5 others, and setting ablaze a church building and a police station in Aguara local government area. The attack affected the United Missionary Church of Africa in Aguara, which was set on fire, while the police station in the area was also touched. It was gathered that the suspected bandits set the church ablaze at about 6 a.m. before moving to Sukumba, a neighboring village that shares the border with Kabe, which was recently attacked. The attackers reportedly looted foodstuffs and other valuables before killing an elderly woman in Kabe town and abducting 5 residents. Speaking of Sunday morning, the son of the late Emir, Murtala Datoro, said the repeated attacks had turned the once peaceful communities into zones of fear and uncertainty. He said innocent lives are being lost, farmers are abandoning their farmlands, economic activities have collapsed, and families are forced to flee their homes in search of safety. Details of the story was to find in the Punch newspaper of this morning. Let's move forward and then check this. Police probe 21 suspects for illegal mining in Zamfara. No fewer than 21 persons have been arrested and are currently under investigation following a joint operation against illegal mining activities in Zamfara State. It was gathered that the suspects were apprehended on Saturday at different illegal mining sites, including Boko Village in the Zurmi local government area and Kaya Village in Maradun local government area. Confirming the arrest in a statement on Sunday, the spokesperson for the Zamfara State Police Command, Yazid Abubakar, said the operation was carried out by the police in collaboration with personnel of the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, NSCDC, and the Federal Ministry of Mines and Minerals Development. He said on January 31, 2026, at about 1400 hours, a joint operation comprising officers of the Anti-Illegal Mining Unit, Tactical Unit, and Bomb Disposal Unit of the Zamfara State Police Command, in collaboration with personnel of the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps and the Federal Ministry of Mines and Minerals Development Area Office Guzo, was conducted to dislodge groups of illegal miners. The operation targeted Bogo Village in Zulmi local government area and Kaya Village in Maradon local government area, where illegal mining activities are being persistently reported. The raid was successfully executed, leading to the arrest of 21 suspected illegal miners. The Minister of Solid Minerals Development, Dili Alaki, had earlier said the ban was lifted due to improvements in the security situation, noting that the move will boost regulated mining, improve intelligence gathering, and curb illegal activities to ensure the nation benefits from the state resources. But then there was a breakdown of law, and that led to this recent trade. Details you find in the Punch newspaper of this one. All right. 13 suspected kidnappers arrested as police free 3 abducted victims. Where did that happen? The Edo State Police Command has arrested 13 suspects for kidnapping and vandalism and rescued 3 abducted victims during separate security operations across the state. The command disclosed in a statement on Sunday by its spokesperson Eno Ikwedem that the operation followed targeted intelligence, swift response, and coordinated bushcombing operations in Esan West and Owen West local government areas. She explained that the operations were part of sustained security measures ordered by the Commissioner of Police, Monday Abudika, to dismantle criminal networks and deny offenders safe haven. According to the statement, on Monday, January 26, 2026, at about 9:30 a.m., police operatives in Epoma acted on credible intelligence regarding the vandalism of a Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited pipeline at Uele community. The command further disclosed that on Wednesday, January 28, a coordinated bushcombing operation was carried out in the Idoa Ewu forest and other identified hideouts. The police said a distress call was received from a Goro Amende community in Epoma, reporting the abduction of a farmer and his 2 wives from their farm in a remote area on Thursday at about 7:30 a.m. The Divisional Police Officer of Epoma Division was said to have led a joint rescue team comprising police, soldiers, and the Edo State Security Corps, vigilants, hunters, and community youths to the area. The 3 victims were said to have been rescued unhurt, while items recovered at the scene included cutlasses, a solar panel, a torch, canvas, rope, palm oil, and a face guard. The commander reaffirmed its commitment to protecting lives and property and safeguarding the critical infrastructure across Edo State. Details in the Punch newspaper of this one. All right, with that, we place a wrap on a check on stories making headlines this morning. The celebration of the 50th anniversary of Ondo State continues today. And of course, the grand final tomorrow. Do participate in all of this. Of course, the Ondo State government has also declared today work-free, except for those of us on essential duties. So the statement by the Chief Press Secretary to the Governor, Mr. Nizadini, did say that the move is to enable citizens and residents participate in the celebration, of course, so that everyone would be carried along in the celebration of the 50th anniversary of the Sunshine State. To enjoy every bit of it. Of course, Osrc television will also be bringing blow-by-blow account of all the happenings to the various centers and the venues of the various activities lined up for this celebration. We'll take a break now. When we return, AMTD continues. Please stay with us.
Ondo ibẹ̀ ní ilé mi o. Ẹ jẹ́ ká gbé lárugẹ. Bẹ́ẹ̀ni, ilẹ̀ ibi agbébí ni tàbí tá a fi ṣe bí ìjòkó jẹ́bi tó yẹ ká máa gbé lárugẹ. Nítorí ẹ̀ la ṣe wá ń pè yín. Bí kẹ̀jẹ́ àjọ celebrate ká jubilate ká dẹ̀ congratulate ara wa. Títí ayẹyẹ 50 ọdún ìpínlẹ̀ Ondo léyìí tó fẹ́ wáyé yìí. Èyí iléeṣẹ́ ńláńlá àti iléeṣẹ́ kéréje. Oníṣòwò oníṣẹ́ ọwọ́ ilé ìwé ilé ìjọsìn. Gbogbo union clubs associations ẹ̀yin ọba ẹ̀yin ìjòyè. Àti gbogbo ọmọ ìpínlẹ̀ Ondo àtẹ̀yìn tẹ́ fi bẹ̀ ṣe bí ìjòkó. Ó yá ẹjẹ́ àjọ kíra wa. Ká kí gómìnà, ká kí igbákejì, ká kí sínétọ̀, ká kí ẹ̀mẹ́sà rẹ̀ ẹ̀mẹ́sẹ̀. Àti gbogbo àwọn tó di ipò pàtàkì mú. Ká pè wọ́n ká kí wọn. OSRC television Orange 94.5 FM àti 96.5 FM alálàyé. Owó díẹ̀ la ó gbà lọ́wọ́ yín o. Torí àjọ ń ṣe ayẹyẹ náà ni. Ìgbìmọ̀ iléeṣẹ́ OSRC Media Group ló ń pè wá. Àmàkù àṣeyà 50 ọdún o tìpínlẹ̀ Ondo ti bẹ̀rẹ̀.
Síbi tí mo wà tí mo jẹ́ gbàgbé o. Ìpínlẹ̀ Ondo ti wá ní o.
She was called the Lioness of Lisabi, a name that roared through the halls of colonial power and echoed in the hearts of women across Africa. Her name is Funmilayo Ransome Kuti, a teacher, activist, feminist, nationalist, and mother to legends. But before the fame, there was fire. Born on October 25, 1900 in Abeokuta, present-day Ogun State, Nigeria. Funmilayo was born Frances Abigail Olufunmilayo Thomas. She came from a family that valued education, and in 1914, she became the first female student at Abeokuta Grammar School. Determined and brilliant, she later traveled to England for further studies, a rare feat for a Nigerian woman at that time. There, she trained as a teacher, absorbing ideas of equality and freedom that would shape her life's mission. On returning to Nigeria in the 1920s, she married Reverend Israel Ransome Kuti, a clergyman and educator. Together, they worked to uplift their community through education. But Funmilayo was not content with just teaching. She saw how colonial rule and traditional structures oppressed Nigerian women, and she decided to act. In 1947, she founded the Abeokuta Women's Union, one of Africa's most powerful grassroots women movements. The group fought against unfair taxation and the corrupt practices of the Alake, the traditional ruler of Abeokuta. Thousands of women led by Funmilayo marched in protest. They sang, they chanted, they occupied, and eventually they won. The Alake was forced to abdicate. Funmilayo Ransome Kuti was fearless. She was one of the few Nigerian women to drive a car, to travel widely, and to speak truth to power. Her activism didn't stop in Abeokuta. She was a founding member of the Nigerian Union of Teachers, a member of the National Council of Nigeria and the Cameroon's NCNC. And in 1953, she became the first Nigerian woman to visit the Soviet Union, a move that earned her the label Communist Sympathizer by British authorities. But she wasn't deterred. In fact, she was emboldened. In her later years, she focused on broader issues: education, voting rights, women participation in politics. She advocated for the inclusion of women in leadership and resisted Nigeria's slide into authoritarianism. She raised 4 children, including Fela Anikulapo Kuti, the legendary Afrobeat pioneer, instilling in them the spirit of resistance and truth. But tragedy would eventually come. In 1977, during a brutal military raid on Fela's compound, known as Kalakuta Republic, Funmilayo was thrown from a second-story window by soldiers. She never recovered from the injuries, and on April 13th, 1978, she passed away. Funmilayo Ransome Kuti was more than a mother, more than a teacher. She was a symbol of courage, of resistance, of dignity. She paved the path so Nigerian women could walk tall, speak freely, and fight for justice. Her legacy lives in every classroom, every protest, every woman who dares to say enough is enough. This was the story of Funmilayo Ransome Kuti, the lioness of Lisabi, a voice that cannot be silenced, a spirit that lives on.
All right, welcome back, everyone. The center of our conversation this morning will be centering on the evolution of broadcasting in Ondo State. Of course, that's part of the conversation for the celebration of 50th anniversary of the Sunshine State. Guess who's joining me in the conversation? A veteran broadcaster by all merit, one who has also seen a lot in the industry, traversed very many arena of the broadcast firmament. Joining me this morning, Mrs. Olabisi Adori. Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning. How are you?
Very well. It's a pleasure meeting you again, of course.
Thank you.
Much more putting you on that, that side. All right. Well, all along, we've almost even finished the program somehow. You know, where two broadcasters meet. I don't want to say one of the older than one of the new older, because there's no older.
Old and new.
The old new.
Veteran.
Veteran. Okay. So let's start this way. Would you say that the last 50 years, half a century, existence of Ondo State, would you say broadcasting has had any critical role it played in the development of Ondo State 50 years after?
Oh, very, very so. Broadcasting has helped to shape the minds of the people, the young and the old. We've been able to educate the people, bring government closer to the people, fine-tune things, ensure that the society is governed very well, because even those in power, the broadcaster can put questions to them and ensure that things are done the proper way. That's what we're there for, to maintain the balance between governance and the people, and to inform the people. So I think broadcasting has done a great deal. Also showcasing our culture, ensuring that the young ones know what the culture is, our traditions, our ways of life and things like that. That's been the job of broadcasting. And I want to believe that we have done very well in the last 50 years in Ondo State, for instance, and Nigeria at large.
Broadcasting, like every other aspect of journalism, stands on a tripod. Information, education, and entertainment are much more important, especially in the estimation of many, is the information aspect of it in a non-biased nature that would also be able to speak truth to power. In the case of the states in reference, on those states, how well broadcasters been able to put people in power on their toes, making them accountable to the people?
I think we have tried. I wouldn't say we have been excellent in that regard. But informing people, the information aspect of it, we have done very well. I want to believe so. Covering government activities, covering social activities, entertainment and all that. I think we have done very well. Putting people in governance on their toes, I'm not sure we've done very much in that regard, I would like to you. But we've been able to cover all these activities that governments had over the years. We've been able to bring governance closer to the people. I'm sure we've done very well in that regard, covering social activities and all that I have said. The issue of going straight to people in power and, you know, telling them, asking them some questions that will put them on their toes to ensure that they're able to deliver properly to the people. I'm not sure we've done very well.
What have been the impediments?
We can see it's very glaring. It's staring us in the eyes, isn't it? Especially with Osrc.
The concept of who pays the piper calls the tune?
Who pays the piper dictates the tune, of course. We've had very confident and brilliant broadcasters that have tried, but there's if government is paying and they want something done, because I can remember, because I've been in the system, I was in the system. I can remember one time when we were called to Government House in the middle of the night, myself, the director of news, and then we were saying, oh, we need to do balancing. We were told, if you want to do balancing, wait until you have your own station. So where do you go from that? But then, I think we have done relatively well.
How then do we juxtapose professionalism and the need to satisfy your proprietor in this case?
You see, you have to have your leaders in the broadcast media who are close to the people in governance. You cannot be confrontational. If you are really too confrontational, you won't achieve results. But where you are close to the people in governance, you are able to explain to them why the need for the broadcaster to be upright, the need for the broadcaster to be able to tell you what you probably don't want to hear sometimes, the need for the broadcaster to probe for information, the need for the broadcaster to be able to put you on your toes by ensuring they ask you the proper questions, by ensuring they do their proper homework, by ensuring they satisfy the people that they're supposed to serve. So if you have your leaders, you know, the people at the top, close to government, they will be able to educate and inform and, you know, rub minds together and try to, you know, make things easier for the young ones who are out there doing the job. So that's the best.
In the last 50 years, of course, the number of broadcast stations you had many years ago, they're not what we now have. Now you find proliferation of stations here and there. In fact, let me even go outside of those states. Recently in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital, there were concerns about the unending rising in the number, unending rise rather, in the number of broadcast stations and the unethical practices that are happening. So in this case, therefore, what do we do to the issue of rising number of broadcast stations? In Akure alone, currently, you can be counting 10 or more. So is this a blessing or a curse?
I think I'll stay midway,
Okay.
to be candid.
Neither there.
Yeah, because if you have a lot of competition like that, if you have so many stations, then the people themselves will be able to sift from this and know the good ones. And that will put the good ones on their toes. When I was in broadcasting, I had one of my ogas then, he's of late now, and that's Baba Ogedengbe. He would say then that when he was at Ibadan, because they kept referring to Ibadan, we joined here in those states, that when he produced a program and his bosses, you know, commended him, oh, that was a very good one, and he would just go back and say, oh God, how do I improve on the next one? Because the next one has to be better. That one, they're already commending him. So that is it. If the
because you're as good as the last presentation.
that is it. So if we have this proliferation, then the ones that are good will stand out. Then they will be on their toes. There is competition. Then you want to excel, isn't it? When you don't have competition, you probably won't really bother. You'll be relaxed. But when you have a lot of competition and you want your station to shine, then definitely you will do more. Your supervisors will do more. You as a producer, as a newscaster, or as a reporter, you will ensure that you put in your very best because you want to outshine these new ones. Otherwise, the new generation stations, the new ones coming on board, might outshine you. So
isn't that also bringing to bear the place of constant self-development, not just on the individual front, but also on the corporate front?
Exactly. So that's why, as I said, I'm staying in the middle. Those big organizations or those ones on ground already would want to ensure that they send their staff on training and retraining, good supervision, ensuring quality of what you broadcast, and then the new ones coming on, they are either going to try to stand up and outshine the ones, or otherwise people won't listen to their stations. So I think it's something good. I want to stay in the middle, as I said.
Well, while staying in the middle, shouldn't we also look at the issue of stations now springing up, not with the aim of servicing the broadcast firmament, but as an economic tool for their proprietors?
Yeah,
I think it's a huge concern.
It is a huge concern, and not only economic tool, it could be for political concerns as well. The Broadcasting Organization of Nigeria should be able, because that's the body that is set out to supervise this industry. They should be able, before they give them the licenses, they should ensure that they have the proper staffing and everything, and ensure that we maintain the quality of the broadcast industry. And the ones that are organized already would ensure that they do training and retraining for their staff. And now we have the internet and everything, so it's a lot of competition out there. And if we're saying broadcasting brings in money, we have to be careful as well, because where are the industries that are going to put in advertisement for all these stations for them to be able to make enough money to ensure good quality job? Where are the industries, where are the businesses that will put in their advertisements for you to make money? Some of them get into the broadcast industry, they're going to discover that, it's difficult for them to continue to stay afloat.
Contrary to
what they thought originally. So competition is good, because then it ensures quality. It ensures that we bring out the best for the industry, so that the industry continues to serve the people the way it's supposed to.
Okay, so many other things we still want to talk about, especially still from the front of regulation, the role of the NBC, and the lobby role, so to say, of the Broadcast Organization of Nigeria. That will be after this very short break, everyone. We'll be right back. Please stay with us.
Ìpínlẹ̀ Ondo ibẹ̀ ní ilé mi o. Ẹ jẹ́ ká gbé lárugẹ.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni, ilẹ̀ ibi agbébí ni tàbí tá a fi ṣe bí ìjòkó jẹ́bi tó yẹ ká máa gbé lárugẹ. Nítorí ẹ̀ la ṣe wá ń pè yín. Bí kẹ́ ẹ̀ jájọ celebrate ká jubilate ká dẹ̀ congratulate ara wa. Títí ayẹyẹ àádọ́ta ọdún ìpínlẹ̀ Ondo léyìí tó fẹ́ wáyé yìí. Èyí iléeṣẹ́ ńláńlá àti iléeṣẹ́ kéréje. Oníṣòwò, oníṣẹ́ ọwọ́, ilé ìwé, ilé ìjọsìn. Gbogbo union clubs associations ẹ̀yin ọba ẹ̀yin ìjòyè. Àti gbogbo ọmọ ìpínlẹ̀ Ondo àtẹ̀yìn tẹ́ fi bẹ̀ ṣe bí ìjòkó. Ó yá ẹ jájọ kíra wa. Ká kí gómìnà, ká kí igbákejì, ká kí sínétọ̀, ká kí MHR, MHA. Àti gbogbo àwọn tó di ipò pàtàkì mú. Ká pè wọ́n ká kí wọn. The OSRC television Orange 94.5 FM àti 96.5 FM alálàyé. Owó díẹ̀ la ó gbà lọ́wọ́ yín o. Torí àjọ ń ṣe ayẹyẹ náà ni. Ìgbìmọ̀ iléeṣẹ́ OSRC Media Group ló ń pè wá. Àmàkù àṣeyẹ àádọ́ta ọdún o tìpínlẹ̀ Ondo ti bẹ̀rẹ̀.
Kò síbi tí mo wà tí mo jẹ́ gbàgbé o. Ìpínlẹ̀ Ondo ti wá ní o.
Mo kíra fún ọ ìpín.
back, everyone. Of course, we're still having a conversation on the evolution of broadcasting, not just in Nigeria, but specifically in Ondo State as we celebrate the half-century of existence of Ondo State. Of course, it's been an interesting conversation all along with the veteran broadcaster, Olabisi Adore. You see, each time we will come on set, one of the things that amuses younger broadcasters, I remember very well, you know, just that, Junior Gulu, can you hear me? And then they said, okay, when we are done, you will repeat that. Of course. So it's been a worthwhile experience in broadcasting, I must say. But let's continue the conversation. The role of the NBC as a regulator, what's assessment of this role? Some say it's a toothless barking dog when it comes to money and political interference. Some say, of course, it's been living up to expectation. What do you say?
I'm sorry, I can't actually say it's been living up to expectations. I wouldn't say a toothless, dog. But then we still need a body to regulate the industry. Otherwise, people will just do whatever they want.
We still need a body?
Yeah.
Different from NBC?
No, I mean the NBC as a body.
Okay, it should live up to expectation.
Yeah, it should. There are a lot of considerations that would hamper the good work of this organization. The fact that there are so many outfits there, broadcast outfits, for them to be able to manage well, and also because with the political bigwigs around, even if you think what that station has done is not right, when you have the political power, there's very little that could be done. They can just come and, read down the next of the particular station. At the end of the day, nothing really would happen. But the fact that this organization, these broadcast outfits, know that the Broadcast Organization of Nigeria is there, I mean, they would try to keep within professionalism and ensure that they uphold the standards of the broadcast organization. So it's still there, but then they're not actually, to be candid, they're not actually doing much. But then what they are doing is that I think is good, is for them to give the organization any new outfits the to go ahead to start the station. A lot of things.
Well, sorry to match it on, beyond licensing, what more do you think the National Broadcasting Commission needs to do for it to be able to live up to expectation, especially to arrest the abnormalities that are also traceable to the broadcasting industry?
Yeah, it's like they need to do more of monitoring. And also, when we first started those days, there used to be a lot of commissioning some organizations to give reports. They would go out and print questionnaires and study what is happening in a particular area and then give their reports. We had these big advertising agencies that were saddled with such responsibilities. If we have such reports, but I don't think anything is happening these days. I'm not sure if there's any organization put in place to actually do audience survey, or that, so that they can know what is actually happening. Because it's one thing for
All right, so we've been having a conversation on the broadcasting firmament in Ondo State in the last 50 years, and of course, looking at the consideration for regulation, we've looked at this. So we'll take a break now. When we return, we will continue the conversation on what other stakeholders need to do beyond the NBC to ensure professionalism in the industry. We'll be right back, everyone.
She was called the Lioness of Lisabi, a name that roared through the halls of colonial power and echoed in the hearts of women across Africa. Her name is Fumilayo Ransom Kuti, a teacher, activist, feminist, nationalist, and mother to legends.
We were talking about regulatory concerns the other time, and that reminds me of what Governor Loki Orisayet was said during the World Press Conference, that what the concern of the administration now is, especially being lucky to be in charge of the admission of Ondo at a time like this, will be to lay the solid foundation for the next 50 years of Ondo State, so that the next half a century is better than the last one. So let's bring that to the broadcast arena. What do you think needs to be done so that the next 50 years will be better for broadcasting in Ondo State than the last 50 years?
Thank you very much. The governor also, I want to add to what you have said, also appealed to the conscience of the young ones, not young Nigerians, young Ondo State indigenes, for them to be up and doing, and then start from now to groom their own minds as to what they want Ondo State to look like in the next 50 years. Everywhere he went, he said that, so that the young ones, they are the future of our state, and he's been appealing to their minds as well. Good. In regards to broadcasting, things are changing globally now. The internet is there. It's so fast, not like analog. It's so fast. You can get information through so fast. There's a lot that you can do. So what I think we can do right now is to probably put, this AI that has come up, you can use it for a lot of good. And in the next 50 years, it's going to evolve more. We can have this, as I said, in the curriculum for schools, so that the young people are very educated, right from that their little bit of growing up in their lives. From secondary school, they begin to know more about technology, more about the internet, more about AI or any other thing that pops up right there. So if we are educated, because for now, even if you look at the secondary schools, not many schools have even the computer or access to internet. That education should start from now, at that point, so that this will, translate now to your question about what we want for the broadcast industry in the next 50 years. Education is key to whatever we want in 50 years' time. So I've talked about the internet. Now we need to inform, to entertain, to educate as a broadcast organization, isn't it? So a lot should go into the formation of what we want in the next 50 years. So like drama, do we have how many institutions offer this course? Music, how many institutions? offer this. IT, how many institutions, how many students, do we even have any database for us to have an idea of what we are grooming, how we are shaping the industry, how we are shaping even the community? Do we have enough database for us to plan? We need a good database for as government to plan for the future. So now, if we, for instance, the broadcast industry, apart from the announcers, the newscasters, the presenters, we have the producers, we have a variety of program input into the broadcasting itself as a body. So what are we doing to ensure that all these aspects, all these things that we need to make broadcasting good for the future, what are we doing now, stage by stage, to ensure that we have development in all these areas? And now when it now comes to the internet, which is taking over everything, we need to plan thoroughly. But without planning, we probably will still be dilly-dallying, still be at this stage, even in the next 20 years. We need to move, we need to look forward, we need to be focused, we need to be result-oriented, we need to be sure in our minds what we want as a government, because it's the government that will help a great deal, not the broadcast industries themselves. Because if you don't train, how does the broadcast industry get the right people? By the time they come in, you can train. But then, as I said, as we always said, a broadcaster is born, not really.
You can't get them on the show.
So if the,
so you must be training.
If the quality is not there, what can you train? You know. But then, I mean, we still have like producers who are not online people.
On-air people.
But they still work, they do the greatest bit of the job backstage. So, but all these areas we have to plan thoroughly, for us to get there in the next 15 years. But technology is taking everything now. IT, we have to have students get interested in IT. And you know, before you can get this, you can get to that stage, we have to catch them young.
Very.
So government has to be able to ensure that these children, we catch them young. How is it done in countries like China, for instance? China was nowhere there many years back. They are now leading. So Nigeria too will have to do that. It's not broadcasting years. In the next 50 years, where do we want to go? What do we want? But it's a total package that is going to shape what broadcasting would look like then. If we don't have technologists, if we don't have good engineers, how are we going to have all the equipment that we need? How are we going to maintain these? What about the human aspect of the job and all? Everything has the holistic picture that we really need to look at and start to plan for right now.
I'm happy you talked about technology, and that brings up to bear the issue of AI, artificial intelligence. Concerns will arrive in many corners, but the advent of AI will dislodge many people, will dislodge broadcasters, will dislodge journalists, and then came this assertion by one of the leaders in the industry. Look, AI will only dislodge an incompetent broadcaster, but it will enhance the work of a competent professional broadcaster. What's your view?
Yes, I agree with you. I agree with that person. You see, because AI, you said, yeah, AI can dislodge you. That's not it. That's if you don't really know what you're doing, because you can now use AI to enhance your work. Like, I spoke with one young gentleman of recent, and he said, oh, I'm really making a lot of money from AI. I said, good. So what are you doing? He said, I'm a content creator. I create, you can do anything you want with AI, but then you have to be educated. You have to know what you are doing for you to
You have to understand the command system.
Exactly. You have to go and train for that. People are training vigorously now, but some people are just sitting down, not bothering, thinking, oh, AI is not good. Yeah, AI has its own disadvantages. just like any other thing. We know misinformation and all that. You can just clone this Adori now and say, I have said this, and whereas I didn't say anything, and you're going to make it so real that people would know. But then you have, how do you know, how do you get the good from the bad? That is training. So that's why I said, if it's put in the curriculum right now, from secondary school, people start to learn, and even all broadcasters now, if there's a new challenge there in the industry, you have to rise up to the challenge, you have to learn, you have to educate yourself, and even the organizations can also send people on different courses to ensure that they know what they're doing, they know their onions, and they're able to tap into this new idea and ensure good quality for the industry.
To my mind, this brings us to a point where not just government, but also other proprietors of organizations, broadcast organizations, need to now look into how to enhance the capacity of their personnel. And what brings this to the fore? Recently, former governors who are even on your state, Florence and Irobi, say certain things, tongue-lashed, did a lot of expressions in the political arena. Of course, as our job demands, we will bring this to the fore. And she just gave us a look, that was the eye. So how then do we deal with the liar's dividends, if you're permitted to coin it that way, the liar's dividends that AI also brings? Anyone in power can quickly lie on AI and say, no, that was AI, that's not me. How do we verify it? Is it, you have said it means we must be trained in that line.
Yes.
Who bells the cat of the train?
If I give some contribution before I answer that question, who bells the cat? You see, there are some engines you can know to search and be sure of what is right and what is not right with AI. That's why I talk about education. You see, broadcast organizations themselves need to train their staff, and they need to, even if they don't have enough money for these trainings, they can do it batch by batch. Train the ones that are actually needed to do the job, like reporters and some producers, and then you go on and on, training and retraining, training and retraining. There must always be a budget for training in any organization. You must have a budget for training. And the state-owned television stations also need these budgets for, need to fund their organizations very well. I know private organizations, there are some private organizations that have training facilities on within their organization. In the past, we only had the FRCN training school and all that, but some private organizations are even doing training. And if you can, source training outfits there that can help develop your staff, a lot needs to be done to train the human capacity for your station. So that needs to be something that organizations take seriously.
So the advent of AI must not be jettisoned. We must look into training both young and old staff of broadcast organizations to be able to. Now let's look at another very important issue, and that's the digital age has brought about this overbloated idea of people who own smartphones. And now anyone will call himself a journalist just because you have a smartphone and then you can post and all of that. What threat does this pose to the broadcasting industry?
The broadcasting industry, because what you have said is quite true, it's happening. But then you can see the quality. There's no professionalism in what they dish out. So that would be the difference between just those ordinary ones and the real broadcast organizations. There must be professionalism, there must be good quality broadcasts, and that would give us the difference. But then, it's a global world now. Everywhere you can access anything, you can go on the internet and do anything. But the difference will now be the angle of professionalism. What you dish out should be different from what the ordinary person on the street does. But then they can also be smart by giving, you know, because when you understand your people, you know what they want, then you can, you know, get your best from them, even if you are just sitting in your house doing everything. But the broadcast organization have to sit up now. All these organizations that we have there, they have to sit up and do their best, train their people, do good programming, ensure that you have quality when you dish out anything, and a lot of supervision needs to be done to groom the young ones in the industry. A lot of supervision needs to be done.
Let's look at one thing that's critical. Politics. Politics is not just about APC, PDP, ADC, and all of us. It also cuts across many other aspects of life, including broadcasting. All the assessment of the politics, policies, and governance of the broadcast firmament in Ondo State all in all. What effects
All of
are they
them.
going to have?
Thank you. Because if I want to go back to the past and see what's been happening, well, we have policies. We have the policies. We can improve on the policies. We can fine-tune the policies. But then what about the politics of it? The politics of it would ensure that you don't get what you want, even if you have all the policies, even if you have, except you have leaders that are very brave, outstanding, they know what they're doing. But even when they do that, you can get kicked out very easily, because it's the government, especially in government-owned organizations, even if you are of the best quality, they don't bother when politics comes in. They don't bother about quality, or they can jettison the best staff today without blinking an eye and bring in somebody that is not even worth half of the quality of that person. That is politics. So, well, we just have to manage everything. Yeah, we have to continue to do our best, not minding what politics can bring. Even within the organization, even the politics within the organization, sometimes they keep fighting themselves, forgetting that they are put there to do the job, you know. So everything just works hand in hand. I mean, there's very little you can do, but then we can just go on and ensure that we have our policies that we need to follow. We have good quality leaders. Don't just put somebody there because maybe somebody has dictated it from somewhere. Look for the best hands and look for your trained hands. Don't just jettison your trained hands, because it will affect the system. When you remove all your trained hands, then who will train the up and coming broadcasters, journalists, and all that?
I'm more particular about government-owned organizations now, government-owned broadcast organizations. What exactly is your recommendation in terms of administration? Do you think it's healthy for government-owned broadcast organizations to be headed by political figures, or that the governance structure should be the rising rank that's always directors general, or general managers? Which one is better for the government broadcast organization?
Well, the truth has to be said, you know. The best thing is for those in the organization growing should be allowed to grow, because one, they understand the system perfectly well. They understand the human elements. They know what to do at the right time. But when you bring somebody from outside to come and it will take that person, no matter how good that person is, it's going to take that person some time to understand the system. And where are we going? It's been happening in government-owned organizations, broadcast organizations. This is something that I think should stop, because then for you to be able to groom your peoples, it will take time, and then it will continue to affect the system. The people in the system, except they are bad, they should be allowed to grow. Yeah, government can bring in politicians because this is my station. I want to know what is going on there. I don't want some people to just go at the back and start promoting what they shouldn't be promoting and using my money for that. Good. That person can probably be the chairman. That's a political figure. But the real professionals doing the job, I think they should be allowed to grow. And I was in broadcast. We tried to ensure that. But sometimes when you want something done that way, you can't be professional. Yeah, you can't be confrontational. You have to go back and you have to be diplomatic about it. You have to know that, let the people know why it should be that way. Because once it's done that way, the next person comes, feels that is what should be done, and they continue doing it. It's going to affect the system. It's going to affect the development of the whole organization. No doubt about that. So that's my take anyway.
Personal development. That's funny. Personal development. What is its place in enhancing quality of broadcasting in Ondo State? What should be our disposition to that?
Oh, I mean, that would be the best thing that we should do. You have to develop your personnel. And there's a lot of ways that this can be done. And that is why I say don't bring out, don't just saying the good quality people that you have in the system, especially the middle management of your system. Middle management, they are the core of development because they develop the young ones coming into the system. You need to keep your middle management intact, even the top management too, because they already understand the system. No new person is going to understand the system. The new person, if that new person comes and is not supported by the top organization, top management, that person can't function. So we need to keep the middle management intact. Now we need to do training and retraining. One thing I want to talk about, I don't want it to go personal, but maybe at this point I need to do a little bit of it. Some of our top broadcasters also need to give back to the organization. Like, you need to write books. How many books have you read in broadcasting, about broadcasting? I'm asking you. How many? You see, the people that have been in broadcasting for a long time and they have the experience, they should be able to share the experience. Because when I left broadcasting, before I left actually, I started putting a book together, and that was FIT, Fundamentals, Ethics and Effects of Television. And when I left broadcasting, I finished that book, and it was used in some universities in Nigeria then, University of Ife, Delta State University, Covenant University, and some other Ondo State University, even for their master's program, because they didn't have textbooks they could lay their hands on. And if you look at the internet, some of these people doing research, they go to pick some things from B.C. Adori's book. So, but our people, those that are at the top echelon of management in broadcasting, you need to put pen to paper, although people don't like reading these days. But you can do this and then put it on the internet so that people can access those, maybe if it's just a journal, if not a full book, so that people can, get all this, get access to your wealth of experience. Don't just carry your wealth of experience and go back to your house and sit. We need to help to develop the system by ensuring that we contribute our own culture to the development of the human personnel in broadcasting.
Of course, we do hope that there will be so much more development in the broadcast arena in the next 50 years. And so we also hope that Ondo State will continue to progress under the current administration or subsequent administrations that will still come. It's been an interesting conversation, and I think I love how we ended the conversation. A charge on veterans, on still the ones that are still in the industry, write books, document experiences, so that we have a banner without stain handed over to younger generations. Thank you very much, Mrs. Olabisi. Thank you for sharing your wealth experience with us on air today. Everyone, it's been a wonderful conversation on air today, looking at broadcasting. Well, they say the mirror does not see itself, but then that's what they're doing this morning. We want to look at ourselves. How well is it? Thank you everyone for being a part of it. It's been an interesting conversation. It returns next week, God willing. I am Sunday Kolawole. Enjoy the rest of the day.
50 years ago, a land rich in heritage was given a voice, a land where culture speaks, history breathes, and tourism tells a story to the world. As Ondo State celebrates 50 years of statehood, Honorable Adesoji Afolabi, Honorable Commissioner for Culture and Tourism, heartily congratulates the resilient and hospitable people of the Sunshine State on this Golden Jubilee anniversary. Ondo State is blessed with timeless traditions, vibrant festivals, sacred groves, historic landmarks, breathtaking landscapes, and a people whose culture defines excellence. Today, we honor our forebears and cultural heroes whose values, creativity, and identity laid the foundation for the rich cultural tapestry we proudly showcase to the world. The Honorable Commissioner also commends His Excellency Honorable Lucky Orimisun Ayedatiwa, Governor of Ondo State, for his unwavering support for culture, tourism development, and positioning Ondo State as a destination of pride and global relevance. As we journey into the future, may our culture continue to thrive and our tourism unlock greater opportunities for growth and unity. Happy 50th anniversary, Ondo State. 5 decades of resilience, 50 years of culture, heritage, and unbroken progress. On this momentous Golden Jubilee, Prince Nelson Adekunle Omoyoluye, Chief Executive Officer of Eminent Nigeria Limited, stands with pride to salute the heartbeat of the Sunshine State. Looking back, we celebrate the remarkable gains that have defined us. We honor the intellectual giants who have emerged from our schools, the vast cocoa plantations that have filled our economy, and the rich natural resources from the majestic hills of Idori to the untapped wealth of our coastal waters that make us a land of abundance. We have built a legacy of peace, industrial growth, and political stability that serves as a beacon for the entire nation. We extend our warmest congratulations to the Executive Governor, His Excellency Dr. Lucky Orimisun Ayedatiwa, for his purposeful leadership that steers up towards brighter horizon. To the good people of Ondo State, your industrial spirit is the oil that keeps our lamp burning. As we celebrate 50 years of statehood, Eminent Nigeria Limited reaffirms its commitment to your growth. We don't just look back at half a century of achievement. We look forward with boldness to a future of innovation and prosperity. We see a future of tech-driven industries, enhanced infrastructure, and a booming economy that benefits every citizen. Happy 50th anniversary, Ondo State. From all of us at Eminent Nigeria Limited, we are partners in the sunshine, and together we will continue to shine even brighter.
Hooray, Ondo State is 50. On behalf of the State Executive Council and the entire membership of the National Union of Road Transport Workers, NURTW, Ondo State Chapter, I, Comrade Ademola Odudu, the State Chairman, heartily congratulate our Governor, His Excellency Honorable Lucky Orimisun Ayedatiwa, and the resilient people of the Sunshine State on this historic Golden Jubilee. For 5 decades, we've been the wheels of progress, moving the economy, connecting our communities, and witnessing the transformation of our state from the early days of dusty path to the modern network of roads that now link our commerce and our people. The progress we've made together is a testament to our collective strength. We salute the visionary leadership of Governor Ayedatiwa for his commitment to infrastructure and for ensuring a peaceful environment for our members to serve the public. As the lifeblood of transportation, the NURTW remains a proud partner in the Ondo State project. As we look forward to the next 50 years, we pledge our continued loyalty and support toward a more prosperous and mobile Ondo State. The road ahead is bright, and together we will drive our state to even greater heights. Happy 50th anniversary of NURTW Ondo State.